The street was quiet, but not dead. There was a pulse underneath the stillness, something alive in the shadows, something watching. Ayanna stood at her door, keys trembling in her hand. The golden light above her flickered as if it too sensed the danger thickening in the air. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, every instinct screaming that she was not alone. Then, she heard it. The low, steady hum of an engine easing to a stop just a few steps behind her. The soft crunch of tires against damp gravel. That sound lodged itself in her chest like a blade. She did not turn. Not immediately. Instead, she let the silence stretch, let it press against her ears until it was unbearable. And then, slowly, deliberately, she shifted her head over her shoulder. There he was. Malik. Leaning against the open door of his black luxury car, the streetlight catching only fragments of him, the line of his jaw, the glint of his eyes, the cruel looseness of his bowtie hanging undone at his throat. He was everything she remembered, sharper, harder, more dangerous, and yet still devastatingly beautiful. Time broke open between them. 3 years collapsed into a single moment. Ayanna's breath hitched. For a heartbeat, she was back on that rooftop, her skin warm with his touch, his promises filling her lungs like air.
We'll burn the world if we have to.
Now, here he was. The fire she thought she buried. The storm she thought she outran. She whispered his name, though her lips never moved. Malik didn't smile. He didn't soften. He simply stepped forward, each movement controlled, deliberate, a predator reclaiming his hunt. His eyes never left hers. And in them Ayanna saw everything, love twisted with betrayal, desire laced with vengeance, but history that neither of them had been able to kill. Her keys slipped from her hand and clattered against the concrete. The sound was loud, too loud, slicing the night open.
Still the same.
Malik's voice was low, deep, the kind of tone that could both ruin and resurrect a woman.
Running from ghosts.
Ayanna froze, her body rigid against the door. She wanted to speak, to scream, to push him back into the shadows where he belonged. But all that came was silence. And Malik filled the silence. He always had.
You built a new life.
He said, his voice dripping with bitterness.
A safe life. Pretty dresses, glass apartments, champagne smiles.
He took another step, his shoes clicking against the wet pavement.
But you didn't bury me, Ayanna. You can't bury fire.
Her throat tightened. Her pulse hammered against her ribs. She hated him for being right. Because in that moment, standing in his shadow again, every carefully constructed wall inside her began to crack. Malik reached the base of the steps, just a breath away from her now. He looked up, and the raw intensity in his gaze made her legs tremble.
I should hate you.
He whispered, almost to himself.
But all I want.
He stopped, his jaw tightening, voice breaking like a man torn in half.
Is to touch you one last time.
Ayanna's hand found the doorframe behind her, nails digging into the wood. Tears burned hot at the corner of her eyes, but she did not let them fall. She had promised herself strength. And yet, her body betrayed her. Her chest arched forward, leaning just enough toward him, caught between terror and longing. The distance between them was electric. His presence swallowed her whole, dragged her back into a love that had never been gentle, only consuming. The night held its breath. And then, Malik's hand reached for her face, trembling but sure. His thumb brushed against her cheek, soft, reverent, like a man handling something fragile that he had once broken. Ayanna's knees almost buckled. Every nerve screamed at her to pull away. But her soul whispered something darker, something she didn't want to hear. Because even after all these years, even after all the pain, Malik's touch still felt like home. The door behind her remained shut. The world outside was gone. Only the fire remained.